Hello teachers, we're back for the second video in our Canvas conferences playlist here. Hey, I want to show you in this one what it looks like to start a conference and then actually utilize some of the features within your Canvas conferences. So the first thing I do want to make sure that you all are aware of is that you need to be using Safari to do your Canvas conferences. If you want to screen share within your Canvas conference, so showing what's on your screen, you need to be in Safari, as that's one of the privacy options that is allowed through Safari is to screen share. We cannot do that through Google Chrome right now. So be in Safari. The second thing to make sure you remember to do is to make sure the big blue button option is visible to your students. Once that's done, you can click start. Now, if you've set up a waiting room, your students will be in a waiting room as they join the conference. Otherwise, once you click start, they can just automatically start joining the conference if there's no waiting room set up there. So let's go ahead and click the start button, and then you're going to see some of the options that it walks you through every single time that you join a Canvas conference. So for yourself and for your students, they're all going to see these options every single time. The first thing it does is it opens up your Canvas conference and it asks you to allow your microphone. So just go ahead and click allow. If you want to test your speaker, simply talk. So I have joined the conference via audio. If I look down at the bottom, I'm going to see all the different options. I can unmute, I can share my webcam, here I can share my screen, here I can share a reaction, here I can raise my hand. So these are all the options that you and students would see down here. For students, they're not going to see some of them if you have chosen to disable those options for them. So right now, I'm currently muted, so if I want to unmute myself, I would simply just unmute myself so I'm in my conference like that. My kids can hear me. Mute myself, just click that button again. If I wanted to share my webcam with my students, I would simply choose to turn on my webcam. It's going to ask me to allow my camera. You're going to go ahead and click allow for this one and click start sharing. And there you see your webcam at the top of the screen there. You also see this large kind of workspace right here. This is your presentation area. If you don't want to see this on screen, you can simply click the little button here in the bottom right-hand corner to minimize that presentation. Gets rid of that. You're now in large screen to see yourself there. Again, if you want to turn your webcam off, simply just click the blue button to turn your webcam off. If you wanted to share your screen, you would simply also do that. Go ahead and click the share screen, and then it's going to ask you the option here to share the window, share the full screen, or don't allow. I would usually just say share full screen if you want to do that. Then I could go ahead and get out of this screen, go here, and then share whatever I wanted to on screen with my students, and they would be able to see my entire screen by clicking share entire screen up here. So I've clicked share screen. Now I can present and share, and they're seeing everything that I'm seeing on screen right here. This is my purple option button that I'm sharing my screen here. If I click that, it'll take me to the option to stop sharing my screen. So if I click stop sharing, it takes me back to this window here. Then I'm back in my conference call here. Again, I want to unmute myself. I want to go ahead and share my webcam again, so I can turn that back on, start sharing my webcam, so I see on screen there. Again, if I'm allowing kids to share their webcam, I'm going to see them on screen. If I don't want them to see each other, I would have chosen that option in the settings there. I'm going to turn my screen off there. Some of the other options within Canvas conferences, of course, there's the public chat. So over here on the left-hand side, you can do the messaging of the public chat. So you can type in what you want to, add in the messages, and post away. If you want to click the plus sign, there's an actions button here in your Canvas conference. You can upload or manage presentations. You can start a poll or a quiz. You can share an external video. You can activate a timer or stopwatch. You can share your camera as content. You can choose any of those options right there. If you at any point are looking through and monitoring that class chat over here on the left-hand side, and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, hey, there's stuff on there that I don't want to see, I can delete individual messages, but if I click this three dots, I can also click to clear, and it goes ahead and clears the entire chat history as well. So it's going to clear everything that's on there. Over here on the left, you would see your user management. This is now waiting users. Of course, I've had nobody try to join my conference, but if I've got a user that's wanting to join that conference and I put that waiting room for them, when they go to Canvas and they go to the course and they join that conference, I'm going to see my notification that a person has joined my session and is waiting for my approval. So on their screen, it's going to say, Big Blue Button Guest Lobby. Please wait for a moderator to approve you joining the session. You are first in line. And then I would see here my waiting on users, and I could just either choose to allow everyone or deny everyone. Pretty neat little feature there to be able to allow everybody in, have that waiting room. And then they would actually then show up below here. So if I click allow everyone, On their screen, it's going to say that they need to go ahead and test their microphone. They would go ahead and tap allow as well. And then you can see that they're now over in the conference. And it says they're locked. If I click on a user, I can see the ability to start a private chat with that user as the teacher. I can lock the public chat completely. I can lock them from public chat. I can give them access to the whiteboard. I can make them a presenter. I can promote them to a moderator. I can just simply unlock them if I wanted to. And I can just remove the user from the conference as well too. So it gives me a lot of kind of granular options for my individual users to go through and do all the different functions for them here. Neat little feature there on the left-hand side, gives you some really kind of tight options for what you can do for your users and kind of what you can lock them into or give them access to there. The other thing to make mention of here is that if you did want to record your Canvas conference, you would go ahead and just click the Start Recording button as well, obviously up there. If I wanted to really use kind of the whiteboard feature, I could click to open that Minimize Presentation. It takes me this window right here, and I can simply just click over to the next slide. And now I simply have a whiteboard where I can write and type and do all kinds of functions and features over here. If I want to close that down, just close that down. When you've gone through all the different things within your Canvas conference, you've done all the different things and you're ready to actually end your conference, when you click the red button up here to leave, it's going to actually ask you either to leave the session yourself or end the session for all. You're going to want to choose end the session for all, obviously, because then that will then kick all of your students out of the conference as well. So we would just go ahead and click end session for all, end session for all users. And then what you're going to want to do, again, remember, click to close that tab. You're back on this page right here in your Canvas course. You're going to want to click End the Canvas Conference. If you don't end it, students can jump back and join in the conference again. Now, if there's a waiting room enabled, they wouldn't be able to join in because the waiting room is there. So if you do forget that, that's the reason for that. But if you don't have a waiting room set up and you don't end this, they can join back in. So make sure you click to end your conference, click OK, then that conference is shut down. Nobody else can get back into that there. The last thing you're going to want to make sure that you do after you have ended your conference, and it's down here in concluded conferences, is to go back and hide this big blue button option for your students so that they do not see that anymore in your course. Just go back to settings, go back to navigation, and then take the big blue button option and drag it back down to the hidden section so that your students no longer see that option in your course. And click Save. It's now hidden in your course. So there's some of the new unique features within Canvas Conferences and all the different things that they can do there and kind of all the different settings that you can work through with all your users in your Canvas Conference.